freaking go. Let's go. Ha, 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 ha. So I pushed the live stream back because I have to show you this. So I have to go retrieve this photo. And if you are a diehard PHLer, this is my favorite thing to do. So before we get into it, obviously, we're going to talk about Brian Kelly tonight. I have a lot of Brian Kelly thoughts that we're going to get to. Obviously, we are all very nervous about tomorrow because, of course, our patron saint, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, going up against Andrew Whitworth and Odell Beckham Jr. We're talking about four of the greatest LSU Tigers of all time. Danny, I'm wearing the Tiger shirt. That's what I'm wearing tonight because I'm feeling extra spicy back from Los Angeles. So yesterday we did a live stream. It was very laid back. I was in Los Angeles and I was showing you guys some of the cool things that they were doing for the big game. So it was really, really, really fun. But this is what's up, Chris? Good to see you. This was the absolute best thing that happened on the trip. And this is, to me, the highlight of my career. Okay. I used to think that the best feeling that I ever had in life professionally was when I was a comedian and I would make people laugh, right? There is no better high than making people laugh. However, I did discover something that is better than that. And it's getting the chance to meet you guys, because I hate this. I love the live streams, but it's better to actually get to meet and talk to you guys. So this was one of my favorite things about the entire trip. And this is really cool because I never got to meet this individual. And boom, there you go. If you know this face, you know that is none other than fellow PHLer Van Lathan. So it was cool getting to go out to LA, spend some time with Van. You guys remember Van just absolutely killing it. I mean, murdering it as our live stream guest just a few weeks ago. And anytime I get an opportunity to, meet someone at an event, this was actually Shaquille O'Neal's big party last night. And this was incredible. It was like a carnival scene. And it was nothing. It really was one of the best nights of my life. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get to stay to see Lil Wayne and Zed and Diplo and Shaquille O'Neal perform because I had to catch a 1 a.m. flight. But this was legit so cool, right? Because you guys know how much respect I have for Van. But, we're going to do more PHL meetups. This is just confirmation that I need to meet each and every one of you guys. I really am serious about that. Obviously, this is what's all in our minds, though, right? Is Joe freaking Burrow. Okay? That's all I care about. I want him to win so bad tomorrow. I think each and every one of you do. And I know we all want Odell to get his, and we want Andrew Whitworth to get his. And obviously the best case scenario, we would want we would want every LSU legend to win a Super Bowl ring. It's just not going to happen, right? It's just not going to happen. And I honestly believe this to be true. I did not get to meet Shaquille O'Neal himself. Part of it, though, I think if I would have hung out a little bit longer, I would have had the opportunity to meet Shaq. So I appreciate Van showing me around LA. It was just so cool. It really was. Someone that's accomplished so much in media. And I got to meet a lot of other sports media friends. I got to meet Aaron Torres, who's a huge college football and college basketball writer. I got to meet him for the first time, and I've talked to him for decades now. So it's very, very fascinating. But yeah, obviously, as far as like just current LSU news, I know that's what a lot of you are here for tonight. There's just not a whole lot going on after what was a ridiculous last week with the signing period. And then obviously, just a few days before that and in the weeks leading up, finalizing Cortez Hankton and getting some big name transfers. The Miles Frazier story was big. The Jarek Bernard Converse story was big. And obviously, Harold Perkins was a, gigantic story as well. But the truth remains the same, that this week has been a little dead, other than, us getting to know a little bit more about the 2023 recruits. Once again, it's still a little too early to talk too much about 2023. Um, but yeah, I do agree with this with King Robert, that, Joe Burrow winning this game would be very, very, very historic. So, there's just no other way around it. For me, I I think we all just kind of like Joe more than everyone else, mainly because of the impact he had. Now, that's not necessarily the case for me. Joe is probably my favorite Tiger if, push comes to shove. But, Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Peterson, Glenn Dorsey, there's a lot of guys that are close. Whereas for quite a few of you, and this is just from people that buy merch and say that they want a Joe Burrow card, um, Joe is your guy, right? Um, so yeah. Let me see. Carter was like Miley Cyrus, left the country, landed in LAX, handing what's ha ha ha. Yeah, Mick, I have found my purpose. Let's see. Jesse wants my final score. Jesse, I'm not giving that till later, baby. You got a super chat for that answer right now. I will give it to you right the F now, Jesse, and only Jesse if you super chat. Well, no, if any of you super chat. Let's go to this old vet. Yeah, Danny girl. I'm telling you. Oh, Danny. Danny, what's going on in this photo? Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I see Skipper in here. I see Tommy in here. Johnny 5 is in the building. So, yeah. There were a few things I wanted to get to as far as quarterback is concerned. Obviously, this has been the number one question that I've gotten, is not who the starting quarterback is going to be. And it's not even about Walker Howard. It's about the 2023 class. I've gotten a lot of questions about, obviously, Arch Manning and what are all of LSU's options going into next year. I just don't know at this point. I do understand, though, that there is a large number of you that think Ricky Collins is actually our best option, even though he's a 3-star and he's not nearly highly as rated as Holstein and obviously Arch Manning. So it's crazy. I am very happy, Danny, because I've hit a deer before and it can be very scary. I am very happy you're okay, right? That sucks. It really, really does suck. So yeah. So yeah, this week wasn't dead as far as SEC stories are concerned, and you guys have been asking for it. When am I going to start an SEC channel where I cover all the SEC? And that actually is in the works. Doing some general SEC content on a different channel. So be on the lookout for that. I would like to do more general SEC because I do find all these teams fascinating. Now, obviously, I don't know them as well as I do LSU, but in particular, the SEC West is where, to me, the best stories normally are, right? So, yeah, as far as the Auburn story is concerned, Danny, this is just a classic case of, honestly, this is going to sound a little. I know it's very popular to just fall in love with Scott Woodward and the process, whatever, but you do respect him a little bit more simply because his coaching search group was very minimal. Whereas for Auburn, when Brian Harsin was hired, it was the opposite. And I think this is a good example of why you do need your coaching search to be smaller. You don't want all the hands in the cookie jar because that's not going to be everybody's favorite coach. So it's just the truth, right? And I still don't think that would have been Alan Green's, the athletic director's hire. I know there was a lot of powerful people at Auburn that just wanted Kevin Steele to get the job, which honestly wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense. And I still stand by what I said about Auburn from the get-go. I don't get why they ever fired Gus. Hiring Chad Morris was a mistake as his offensive coordinator. That made absolutely zero sense in the world. But outside of that, Gus was just fine. Auburn was winning about where they needed to win, and he actually did beat Alabama not once, but twice. So, I was fine with Gus. And you have to pay him this ridiculous buyout. And then with Brian Harsin, you're trying to find a reason to fire him, and you couldn't. You couldn't find a reason. Bruce Almighty, good to hear you. Robert, we love all our Tigers, but Joe to win with the Simpsons prediction would be phenomenal. I want the next photo with the viewer to be Robert. But obviously, we're going to be doing some cool PHL meetups hopefully pretty soon. I believe Eli Holstein is still committed to Texas A&M. Might be wrong about that. I haven't really followed his recruitment too closely. Once he committed to Texas A&M, I was like, let's move on. There's too many quarterbacks in this cycle, and we got to be able to we got to go on ahead and just find someone. Let's go ahead and go to Old Vet with the super chat. Thank you so much. Our first super chat of the evening. Let's go on ahead and give Jared that score. So it was, I believe, Jesse that asked me the score for this game. So let's go ahead and do this. All right. So the Rams run a lot of too high coverage, right? And Joe, according to some analytics guys I like on Twitter, as a part of the Michigan Analytics group, they're a bunch of young guys and are really smart. They found that Joe Burrow struggles versus too high. His last year, his worst coverage was against coverage 2, and the same thing is true here. I think 4 of his 6 games, his worst games, came against teams that run primarily too high coverages. And the Rams do that. Now, this is the difference, though, for me, is I don't think the Rams secondary is as good as people make it out to be. Jalen Ramsey's had a rough postseason up to this point. Got burned by Mike Evans in a big spot in the semifinals, in the divisional weekend, and then the next weekend he dropped a huge, and I mean gigantic, interception that would have helped the Rams win that game. They were lucky enough to win both of the games regardless. So for me, this is not going to be a popular opinion, and it is going to come off as severely biased, but I think Jamar Chase is going to eat versus Jalen Ramsey. Now, Ramsey's not necessarily one of those guys that travels with the corner or a wide receiver across the field, but I do think Jamar is going to tear him up. I really do. I just think he's better at this point in his career. Now, it's not to say Jalen Ramsey's not an all-time great corner. In fact, I have plenty to back this. Actually, I don't, but at the time, I said the Cowboys made a mistake drafting Zeke over Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey is one of the best defensive backs I've ever seen coming out of Florida State. I mean, he was really good, and he's been a Hall of Fame player up to this point in his career. I just think the Bengals wide receivers are going to be able to win intermediate routes and deep routes as well. So then it comes down to pass protection, and once again, Joe is going to put it all out there. So we're going to get fully mobile Joe Burrow. And he's been talking about trusting himself and being able to really fall in love with that knee again. And, he fully trusts himself to obviously make plays with his legs. That was obviously the big difference in that Chiefs game, where a couple of the sacks that he was able to evade. So, yes, he's going up against, Von Miller's probably been the best edge rusher of this decade, and Aaron Donald's been the best player, period, of this decade. Especially if you exclude quarterbacks. Still, I just trust Joe to get around it. I mean, he is so good at navigating a pocket, and if the Bengals offensive line could just be half decent, they can find a way to get this done. Now, the issue with that, obviously, I should have stood up with that picture of the van. Yeah, I actually was. Van is just really freaking tall. Let's see. I was pretty sure I don't want to do that again. Windshield gone and all is covered in deer blood and guts and that little deer meat on my dashboard. Oh, dang. Annie. I'm glad you're okay. On a lighter note, there's a better way to get venison. I think there's a lot of people in here who have plenty of deer meat stored in the freezer. But yeah, Danny, this is honestly, you know, I get when I get bad news about some of our loyal viewers, it does sit in the back of my head because I really do care about you guys a lot. And luckily, Danny and I have had a great friendship up to this point, and yeah, I didn't know this obviously until now. So I am very freaking relieved that this happened. Now, going back to the old vets analysis here, I do like the Bengals offensive matchup. I do. Now, as far as the Rams are concerned, I do think Cincinnati's defense is slightly undervalued. Trey Hendrickson is a good player. Is he as good as Donald or Von Miller right now? No, but he's still a Pro Bowler. He's still a really good player. Their defensive line was really good in big spots versus Kansas City, and their back seven is okay. Obviously, Jesse Bates is a really good player. Eli Apple is a major liability, and Cooper Kupp and Odell will destroy him. So I will say this. I know Super Bowls can be an underfest, right? Outside of that Eagles Patriots Super Bowl, it could be an underfest, right? You have Patriots Rams. You obviously last year the under hit. I actually do like the over. I do. I do think Joe finds a way to move the football. I also think Matthew Stafford finds a way to move the football as well. I like the over. I also, if you want a long shot play, I am going to give you one. Jamar Chase, Super Bowl MVP. Now, I understand if Joe throws a lot of yards and touchdowns, the likelihood is he is going to win the Super Bowl MVP. And part of that is just the allure, right? He is the best player on the team. He is the most valuable player, right? And then, it gets into a debate about value and whatnot. So, if the Bengals win, Joe Burrow is likely going to be the Super Bowl MVP. However, what I would say to counter that is Jamar Chase is so transcendent to the point where I would say Jamar Chase is not a better football player than Joe Burrow, but Jamar Chase is more transcendent at his position than Joe Burrow is at his. Now, that doesn't mean Joe Burrow's not great. That doesn't mean Joe Burrow won't be an all-time great. But Jamar Chase is legit the highest rated wide receiver prospect since Julio Jones. And he has exceeded expectations. First team All-Pro in his first year, a year after not playing football. And up to this point, Jamar has actually played closer to his peak than Joe Burrow. So if you look at the playoffs right now, Jamar's had better games than Joe has. Now, obviously, Joe has been more critical to their success because he plays quarterback. But let's go back to the last time, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase played in a championship game, right? Jamar Chase dropped a third touchdown pass to start the fourth quarter. So that touchdown catch probably would have given him like 176 yards and 3 touchdowns, or probably closer to 200 yards and 3 touchdowns if he would have caught that 50-yard bomb to start the fourth quarter, and he just dropped it. And that would have obviously made that national championship MVP vote a little bit closer. So we do know Jamar has these peaks where he can have a 250-yard game, and if the Rams trust Jalen Ramsey to play man coverage, and Jalen Ramsey's not playing the absolute best, I trust Jamar Chase to destroy him in a big spot. You don't single cover Jamar Chase. You just don't do it. He's a dog. He's built different. His mindset's different. His football IQ is different. And I like Jamar Chase as a long shot Super Bowl MVP play. But yeah, the final score, Vet, I am going to go Bengals. I am. I just can't go against Joe in a big spot. The Rams have the better roster. If you listed all the players, you probably, if you listed the top 15 players in this game, you're probably picking mostly Rams, right? Mixon, Burrow, Chase, Higgins, Hendrickson, Bates would probably be in that top 15. But then, you know, Kupp, Stafford, Whitworth, Akers, and Mixon kind of cancel each other out. Mixon's better, though. And then defensively, the Rams, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Ramsey. But still, I just don't like that Ramsey matchup. I think Ramsey has a rough night tomorrow. I do. But Eli Apple, who I know is not the most popular player on this channel. SMC thinks the opposite. He thinks Boyd and Higgins are going to have a big game because Rams defense are going to key Chase. You know what's funny? SMC, Mina Kimes of ESPN actually agrees with you. She believes Tyler Boyd could have a breakout game because the Rams at times struggle with intermediate passing attacks, which is why, they've played so poorly against the 49ers this year because Jimmy G, if there is one thing he's good at, it's hitting clutch intermediate throws. So also the Rams linebackers just aren't that good. They're not a good group. So we'll see. Lee says, Carter, you should do another Miles Brennan deep dive or a few more breakdowns. I will get to that. Let's see. Long-time listener, first-time commenter, going to change my name to PHL commenter, like P. So, Lee, that's actually, I would love that because I have a lot of respect for PFT. I was actually going to go try and find him in LA. I've met him once. I met him at the 2018 LSU Alabama game, and I saw him after the championship game. I just respect that guy so much. He's so daggum funny and so original. But yeah, I think that would be really cool. If Higgins doesn't drop passes like he has the past couple of games, I like how Skipper says that from the heart, right? As we're all just real Bengals bandwagon fans, right? We're starting to get really defensive about our Bengals, right? We should have a Bengals bandwagon fill out form, and we should have our own separate social media as Bengals bandwagon fans, right? Here's what you need to know as far as LSU legends that played for the Bengals. Obviously, our guy Jeremy Hill. I'll probably switch to the jersey back here. To I don't know who I might go Dorsey next, his Chiefs jersey. And then, of course, for you really old timers, Charles Alexander, right? He was such a beast for the Bengals and obviously at LSU, College Football Hall of Famer. I can't see anyone on the Bengals offensive line stopping Donald. That's true. I know a lot of money is going on Aaron Donald as the Super Bowl MVP. I've been waiting to say, how about them apples? But I won't because he sucks. Jared with the dad joke. Cheers to you, my friend. Cheers to you. Tyler, of course, man. I'm a Dorsey stan, baby. But yeah, if you guys want to talk Super Bowl, we can. If you want to talk recruiting, we can. The floor is yours, ladies and gentlemen. If you want me to talk a little bit more about my LA experience, I would happily do that as well. I'm just here for you. I'm here for the community. I will say this, right? I'm going to be traveling even more over the next couple of weeks. I like traveling a lot. I've gotten more comfortable with it, but at the same time, my happy place is just, here with Haley and Z and just hanging out with you guys, right? What's up, Britt? Good to see you. So yeah, I think yesterday's live stream, I kept saying it was so bad. It was still kind of cool to tour all what the NFL had to offer. It was such a crazy environment. Going through the stadium security, You know what's funny? Those $25 keychains I bought, I have no idea where they are. I lost them. Did LA make you want to go bigger and dip into the bigger arenas now? No, Danny, I've always wanted to do bigger projects. I've done that my entire career, if that's what you're asking. And yeah, I'm always going to do LSU stuff, right? Um, but yeah, you always want to stretch what you possibly can do, right? And there's a lot of stuff that I want to accomplish, not only in the college football space, but in sports cards. I want to make sports cards big amongst LSU fans, particularly LSU uniform cards. Obviously, I send out so many to you lovely viewers, and the main reason I put so many now in these orders is because I want you to enjoy it. It brings me so much happiness, and like Skipper with the Billy Cannon card right here that came with this T-shirt. So it just makes it all that's what sports cards should be about, right? Carter, thanks for the tour yesterday. We enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Right. But yeah, Jared is right about this. I have been hired by Jeannie Buss as the new GM of the Los Angeles Lakers. So I didn't mean to make this announcement tonight, but Jared and I are such close friends. I sent him a text yesterday. Yeah, Jeannie Buss needs me to tell Russell Westbrook to pack his bags because he's awful. The Lakers have gotten so bad that they brought me into their front office. James Worthy was like, "Who is this guy?" And that's my new job. So PHL would no longer cease to exist next week. This will just be me. This will just be a Lakers channel. So I got my office right next to the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar statue. So there you go. Oh yeah, I didn't get the final score. Final score: Bengals on once again an Evan McPherson kick. They win this game 34-31 in a shootout. Cliff's in here. I know, Johnny. LA celebs. Ha, ha, ha. Well, you know what's funny? I really didn't see a whole lot of A-listers. I went to Shaq's party yesterday, and I didn't even get to see Shaq on stage. I didn't get to see Lil Wayne. Like true A-listers. I saw Mike Golick. I spoke to Mike Golick for a little bit. I'm trying to see, but that's about it, right? But obviously, it was really cool. Get to hang out with Van, get to hang out with Aaron Torres and a few other media buddies. And I've never gotten to meet those guys. I talked to them for hundreds of hours on the phone about just, anything sports related, and you actually get to meet them. And that's great. Shoot, I got to do that for half of Carter's pay, dude. He's throwing straight up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, LeBron should not call the shots anymore, right? Anthony Davis is starting to turn out to be a disaster. Pelicans fans tried to warn him, but they didn't win a title. So what? Anthony Davis is just not good. He's very overrated. And then obviously Russell Westbrook, aging superstar, can't shoot. This was just a disaster from the start. I am not a celeb. I am not. You know what's kind of funny? So this is Power LSU with Danny. Team Zima all day. Ha, 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 ha. So something about LA that you learn pretty quickly, like, we tend to get celebrity all wrong. There are very few true A-list celebrities. All right. An A-list celebrity to me is someone that gets mobbed everywhere they go. So like Shaquille O'Neal is an A-list celebrity. Kevin Hart's an A-list celebrity. Kim Kardashian's an A-list celebrity. But LA quickly learned who are the B and the C and the D list celebrities, right? And that's not an insult. I would, if I was a celebrity, I'd much rather be that so I can walk and enjoy myself. So yesterday I saw one of the best pro football players of the modern era who is not, I believe he's not in the Hall of Fame, but I just saw Rodney Harrison just standing at Shaq's thing yesterday. He was just standing talking to somebody, and it was kind of busy. A ton of people were walking by. No one stopped him. No one stopped him, right? But if Joe Burrow was walking around, he's going to get stopped everywhere. Also saw Austin Eckler, right? A lot of you are fantasy football players. We did the thing with Underdog Fantasy. It was a lot of fun. In fact, my promo code for Underdog still does work, and they have some Joe Burrow stuff. So if you want to do that, promo code Carter. But this is really fascinating, right? Austin Eckler was walking around. Nobody stopped him, or at least a little bit. No, nobody stopped him. So you learn pretty quickly in LA who really are the needle movers, who are really the A-list celebrities. There's not as many as you probably think. Mick, it was a lot of fun. It really was. That's right, Mick. I don't have to change colors. You know what's funny? I was a big Shaq and Kobe guy. They were just so captivating to me in my adolescence. I tried to do the Lakers thing. It just wasn't natural. It just wasn't, mainly because I was just indoctrinated with Jordan so badly growing up. So there you go. Dang, Jay. Whitworth is an a-hole who just happened to just win the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Jalen Ramsey is cocky, even though 90% of his tweets involve him praising God. And that's about it. And Odell is a narcissist. No one can disagree with that, right? But let's be honest. All celebrities, to a certain degree, is a narcissist, right? Good example. Joe Burrow, NFL awards, comeback player of the year, left the trophy on the podium. A little bit of a narcissistic move, but he did it. All celebrities have some level of narcissism to them. But I do agree with you, Jay, that Odell is obviously a very serious example of that. Joe, Chase, and Shelvin deserve it. The other three don't, in my opinion. Something else is like Super Bowls are so random. There's a lot of players that get Super Bowl rings that don't deserve them. Here's a good example. Once again, this is just a very, very extreme example. And this means this is no ill will towards the player. But there's a lot of LSU players that have won Super Bowl rings on practice squads. Okay. They were just a part of the team. They were just a part of the practice squad. And if you're on the practice squad, you still get a Super Bowl ring. Are those players more deserving of that ring than Patrick Peterson and Jarvis Landry? No. So Super Bowl rings inherently are random. It is unbelievable that Joe did not make the Pro Bowl. I actually disagree with this. It is very believable, right? Because there are so many great AFC quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. The unbelievable thing is that Lamar Jackson got it. It was a fan vote. Lamar's one of the most popular athletes on the planet. So, that's what happened there. But that third slot probably would have gone to Josh Allen over Joe Burrow. So once again, that's not saying Joe wasn't phenomenal this year. I would probably, if I had a Pro Bowl vote, the quarterbacks I would have gone Pro Bowl with would have been Burrow, Herbert, and Allen, actually, and left Mahomes out, as tough as that would have been. I just think Joe did more for the Bengals, and Also, Patrick Mahomes' early struggles to this season were kind of forgotten about because he ended so strongly. I would have probably gone. I probably would have gone Allen 1, Herbert 2nd, and Burrow 3rd. Or no. I would have gone Allen 1st, Burrow 2nd, Herbert 3rd. Yeah, so Mac Jones made it as an alternate. So he wasn't an original. So if Joe Burrow wasn't in the big game, he probably would have gotten that slot. What's very interesting, though, Jesse, is Mac Jones got that slot over Derek Carr, who had a far better season, and that game was being played in Derek Carr's home stadium. So that was a bunch of malarkey. I'm going to take these headphones off. I'm tired of wearing them. Yeah, Ryan Perrilloux got a ring with the Giants, right? So, yeah, like Super Bowl rings are random. Now, that doesn't mean you don't that doesn't mean you didn't earn the ring. I'm not belittling a Super Bowl ring. It's just when you say so and so and so deserves it, but so and so doesn't, you have to factor in that, well, not everybody. Not everybody that's great wins a ring, right? If everything was perfect, Patrick Peterson would have won a ring by now, but he's barely played in playoff games. So there you go. Danny Etling has as many Super Bowl rings as Drew Brees. That's so great. I wasn't able to watch much of LSU basketball tonight. How did you guys feel about it? I don't obviously I keep it LSU football. But because I was traveling today, I wasn't able to keep up too much with the current LSU football stat picks. What's very interesting is, you look at 2023, there are going to be a lot of guys in that class that, LSU is going to be in for that are even outside of the state of Louisiana. One of my favorite players is Hicks. That defensive lineman out of Texas is a monster, 5-star. He came to a camp this past summer and just tore Will Campbell up. Will freaking Campbell, and he's a year younger than him. So it's crazy. But yeah, Mac Jones should not have made the Pro Bowl. And I know that that's going to come off as, you're just saying that because he played for Bama. No, I like Mac Jones a lot. He has a great personality. The gritty in the end zone is great. But Derek Carr just constantly gets disrespected. Good question here from Rodney D. In your opinion, who do you think had the biggest impact for LSU football? Kevin Faulk or Joe Burrow? Okay, we'll make this the poll question here. I'll do it just for you. Thank you so much, Rodney, for our first super chat in a while. Appreciate it, man. I need it after those LA Ubers. Dang gummit, those LA Ubers. Let's see. So far, Bengals are winning the polls here. 77% of you say the Bengals are going to win tomorrow night. Let's see here. All right, Joe Burrow. All right, so Ronnie, I'll give you the answer. To me is obviously Joe, simply because he had the best season of all time, the best single college football season we've ever seen. Right now, obviously Derek Thomas, 26 sacks. That's still ridiculous. I mean, Any Bo Jackson season, you can say that was the best. Any Cam Newton's great season, you could say was the best. So, yeah, what Joe Burrow has done to LSU football, even though it is just so much more recent, it kind of took us to the next level. Like, just think about all the millions of views that Joe has generated on social media for LSU and just the brand of LSU football. Joe just took it to a different level, right? So, in my gut, I would say Joe Burrow. But, overall, Kevin Falk signing with LSU made LSU cool. And I cannot say it enough. It is so hard to start a trend. And Kevin Falk was probably the first huge domino of a transcendent Louisiana prospect signing to stay at home. Now, as you can see, I am a big Kevin Falk fan. I don't have any of Joe Burrow's Sports Illustrated covers, but I do have Kevin Falk's right here where my left thumb is. So I have a lot of respect for Kevin Falk, but for this question, I am going to go Joe Burrow. Their influences are obviously very different. Kevin Falk was a better overall player over a course of time, where Joe Burrow obviously had a really good 2018, but only had one All-SEC, All-American transcendent year. So, for me, I'll probably go Joe. Genesis, where have you been? Good to see you. You got the glow up. A win is a win. But yeah, you can't discount what Falk did for LSU. Rodney, the more you think about it, the more you kind of say, well, if Kevin Falk never did the LSU thing, do we ever get Spears and those guys to sign on with Saban? And, there's all these kinds of, what ifs that are out there. But for this question, I am going to go Joe Burrow. But it is without question that Kevin Falk is number 2, or at the very least top 5, when it comes to pure impact and influence on the LSU program. But yeah, Genesis, I'm doing fine. Just got back from LA. Joey B, I don't think LSU will ever see another Burrow. I just don't think we'll ever see. Actually, I'll take that back. I do think we'll see another quarterback have, unbelievably prolific seasons. We'll continue to see that. I just have a tough time seeing another quarterback go 13 for 15, 300-yard passing games. And the other 2 games were 278, 5 touchdowns and 0 picks versus Georgia Southern, and 291 versus Florida in a game where LSU only had 58 plays and Joe Burrow had one of his better rushing performances. That's the crazy thing about it, is Joe Burrow had an exceptional game every time he stepped on the field. Not good, not great. Every time he stepped on the field, he was exceptional. And, you just can't. I know that sounds just so obvious, but, you actually go look at some of the other Heisman Trophy winners. You'll look and you'll be like, well, that game wasn't really that great for them. The only game where you say, well, it wasn't really exceptional, you could make the case for the Auburn, but I would argue the opposite. I would argue the Auburn game was one of his better games, considering, how much our offensive line struggled in that game. So yeah, it's just crazy. I agree with this from Max. All Pro is the more important accolade, which is why there was a little tension, right? Justin Jefferson felt some type of way about not being first team All Pro, right? And look, should Justin Jefferson have gotten first team All Pro over Cooper Kupp? No, because Cooper Kupp had the best wide receiver season of all time in the National Football League. Should Justin Jefferson have gotten All Pro over Devontae Adams? Probably not. Devontae had a better season than Justin Jefferson, even though Devontae, of course, has a better quarterback. Should Justin Jefferson have gotten All Pro over Jamar Chase? That's where it gets tricky, right? So I know Justin felt some type of way about it. All Pro is what really matters when it comes to being elite, right? And I feel the best way you can make a Hall of Fame case for your career is being All Pro. That is the best thing you could do, because that just puts beyond reasonable doubt that you're one of the best players. Rarely do you see players just luck into all pro. You see a lot of players luck into the Pro Bowl. All pro's different. Trey, our biggest super chat of the night. I really appreciate you. I voted Burrow, but without the trend that Falk began just before Saban, you may not have had the success that allows you to get Burrow. Good seeing you and Cali. Let's go. Well, Trey, I didn't get to see you. I was on the West Coast. I could have just gone up to go see Trey. But yeah, the experience was great. It really was. And with your donations, I wouldn't have been able to go on the trip. I just wouldn't have been able to. And obviously getting to meet Van was huge, right? It's cool that, people that accomplish things are fans of the channel, right? And it's so cool to get to know so much of what you guys have done. Like, it's so crazy. Like, and I know King Robert won't, I know King Robert doesn't like to make this channel about him, but as you guys know, we wouldn't have a channel. We wouldn't have the success we've had without King Robert, right? I was at a dinner with Van, and he was like, "Hey, Carter, can you tell me more about King Robert?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to share the story. King Robert, is a very successful boat captain or boat fisherman, and he's gotten to see the world, right? And King Robert's lived this fascinating life, and I've gotten to learn about Trey." Trey obviously is a anthropologist, right? So it's cool getting to know what you guys do. I find all of this to be so unbelievably fascinating, which is why I'm getting excited about potential PHL meetups and getting to meet some of you guys down the road. And obviously, we're trying to work that out for New Orleans for the Florida State game to start next year. Kind of want to do something this summer. I know we have a lot of PHL viewers in Alabama. That would be absolutely phenomenal. But, right now, signing day is over. NFL's dominating the headlines. Views are kind of down. It's whatever. But for me, I am looking to build. I want this to be, something spectacular. It was different working with you on West Coast time. I used to not think this. I used to think Central Time was the best. West Coast is the best time, right? Like, when I was in Vegas a few weeks ago, I was like, holy freaking crap. 10 a.m. kickoff times, sign me the F up. That was so freaking dope. Waking up, football's on the TV. West Coast time is just the freaking best. Trey Beatty is an anthropologist. That's so cool. Being a social worker, I find anthropology so intriguing. Yeah. Trey was the one who told me what my chicken nugget on the back of my head was called. What is this called, Trey? The back of my head. Y'all see this? Can y'all see it? It was like a... Huh? LSU Anthro grad. No, Kurt, I am not in California. I was there yesterday, and I was there very briefly. It was too short. Hopefully, I'll be back out there pretty soon. I love LA. I used to not like it. This trip kind of grew on me. External occipital protuberance. Got to screenshot this and send it to Haley because she was mad that I didn't remember this. I've gotten this question a lot, Jay. So just curious, why did you go to LA but not stay for the game? So, Jay, I don't know if you weren't able to watch the stream yesterday. And it was a very disjointed live stream where, I was showing you around the NFL experience, which, by the way, is nowhere close to SoFi Stadium. So, for those that have never been to a Super Bowl week, it is different than the college football playoff where it's mostly just the game, right? Or the games. Super Bowl week is a thing, right? There's all different kinds of celebrities, and then you have Radio Row, and then you have all these interviews, and then you have all these sponsorships, and it's just different, right? And then, of course, you have the biggest musical performance of the year, right? The halftime show. So it's just, culture festooned all in one city, right? It's just a blend unlike anything else. And the thing is, the game is actually just the game. There are no other events, whereas every single night there was a major event happening. So, for instance, like Shaquille O'Neal throws two big events. Like he has this huge carnival and EDM concert, which is what Van and I went to yesterday. And then the night before, I didn't go to this, but Shaquille O'Neal had a huge comedy show with Monique and uh, DeRay Davis and all these Michael Blacks and a lot of these great comedians, right? And that was just one of the many events, right? NFL Honors was going on. So the week, Jay, is actually, it's not bigger than the game, but it is better for you to be there for the week instead of the game, if that makes sense, right? Because if you go to the game, obviously, if you pay a ticket, you got to be a very rich, you know what. But that's why you go for the week, right? There are millions of people that go to the Super Bowl. Far more of those people don't go to the game compared to those that actually do. And something that's very popular, Jay, is a lot of people actually fly out on Friday afternoon before even Saturday hits, right? Just to get the heck out of Dodge because it just gets so crowded. That was part of the reason why I left at midnight. So it is a circus, but it's totally worth it. Like the contacts. And then obviously, you know, it was kind of cool. Like Aaron Torres is just to be the best college basketball writer on the planet. And, you know, I'm lucky to have been his friend for over a decade. And yesterday was the first time I got to meet him in person. And that's because this event both drew us to, well, he lives in LA, but it drew us together. And, you know, we got to have lunch and, you know, talk about the channel. And he'll be on the channel pretty soon. I'm going to be down there for LSU versus the fourth best team in Florida. Also, I got Rams. Unfortunately, Rams can drop 8, rush 3, and still get pressure. But CJ is out for the Bengals, which is a big, big loss for our guy, Jugular Joe Burrow. That's true. CJ Uzama, not only necessarily from a football standpoint, but just his personality. You know, he's just a big, big personality. Really funny dude. Rams could drop. That's true. The Rams don't rush 3, drop 8 too much because if you do that, you don't get the one-on-one matchups because obviously you force a double on Aaron Donald. And if you force a double on Aaron Donald, you're essentially getting man-to-man across the board versus the other 3 offensive linemen. So, you know, they're always going to more than likely rush 4. But I still get your point, though. They're able to play really soft coverage and still get home. So, you know, it's a really good point, and I know everything points to the Rams winning this game. They're playing in the home stadium. We saw how much that may or may not have affected the Tampa Bay game. I think it did. They were playing in the home stadium, right? They had the overall better roster. Aaron Donald is a top 10 NFL football player of the modern era. We've never seen what he's been able to do. I never thought a defensive tackle could be this good. And this is coming from someone who studied the position in order for my undersized butt to play it. I know the ins and outs of basically every move you can do. And Aaron Donald is a perfectionist. Speed, talent, body, work ethic, leadership. He's just the best to ever do it. And I don't think we'll ever see anyone be better than him, right? So, yeah, I mean, Aaron Donald's just so good. But yeah, Max, we're definitely going to link up. I think it's going to be kind of crazy when Max and I meet. I think what makes it very interesting for Max and I is Max doesn't have a profile photo, right? So I have no idea what Max looks like. I'm really excited to meet you, man. What was the vibe for LSU like, if any, among folks you encountered at the Super Bowl? So I got stopped a lot when I wore my LSU gear, like Go Tigers and all that stuff. But yeah, it's pretty clear that LSU is the biggest winner of the Super Bowl matchup because of the influence, right? You know, Andrew Whitworth just won Man of the Year. Joe Burrow is like the biggest star in sports memorabilia, the biggest star in professional sports this weekend. This weekend's about Joe Burrow, right? Now, obviously, if Matthew Stafford wins, it goes a long way for his legacy. But, Aaron Donald's legacy is cemented. So is Ramsey's. Obviously, a Super Bowl helps it. But rings really move the needle. Rings really move the needle for quarterbacks, right? Especially for you Dolphins fans, Max, and Dan Marino. So yeah, Jay, that was crazy, right? So here's something I would recommend in 2025 when the Super Bowl is back in New Orleans. You should just go. Even if you don't go to the game, you should just go, right? Especially if you live in Louisiana. Go experience it for a day. I didn't go to the NFL experience last night on the live stream. It cost $40 and I didn't really have that much time. But yeah, I mean, it's great. Now, once again, it also depends how big of a football fan you are. If you're a big NFL fan, I am. I don't like it as much as college football. I don't like it as much as LSU. But still, we dominate the NFL. So it makes the NFL more compelling for all of us. Robert and I were talking about this privately not too long ago. So yeah, let's see. Ooh, Joe Burrow going for 75 yards rushing. If you actually do believe that, you should bet that over. Well, I can't. That wasn't gambling advice. But it should incline you to believe that Joe Burrow, I think his over-under rushing total is probably, I don't have the number in front of me. I would guess that number is probably 15. I would say anywhere from 10 to 15. Let me see. Yeah, 10 and a half. It's 10 and a half. Over under. Crazy. Yeah, trade it, go back to this question. So yesterday we had a writer by the name of Mike Jones on the stream. And he thought it was cool that a random LSU YouTuber just interviewed him. It was very nice. I need to reach out to him. I think a lot of people like LSU because it's just different, right? We've gone into this a few times. The national media either loves or just despises LSU, it seems, right? But to me, there's just so many individual national media members that just love LSU. They just love the Saturday night in Death Valley, whether that be, Josh Pate, whether that be Ryan Russillo or whoever it may be. Scott Van Pelt, they'll all tell you LSU's the best, right? When it comes to, just that environment, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, so this was very confusing. So Walter Payton Man of the Year is never awarded until the NFL honor ceremony, right? It's one of the biggest awards they give out every year. It's probably the second most important award behind MVP, but the players call the Walter Payton Man of the Year award probably the most important award, right, for community service. Tyrann Mathieu won a fan vote for Nationwide to donate to his charity of choice, which makes sense. Tyrann Mathieu is a ridiculously talented and popular football player. So, of course, Tyrann's done a lot of good deeds. Obviously, I personally wanted him to win the award because I'm obviously, a big Tyrann fan, collect his stuff. That guy means everything to me. So I would like to have seen the fruits of his labor, rewarded, but it still did, right? He won, an award via the Walter Payton Award, but it wasn't the main Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Let's see here, Johnny 5. What's the one thing that you enjoyed the most about LA? So it's a little bit different, Johnny, considering I was there for the game. Okay. So, this isn't like typical LA. There's a lot that I like. Obviously, boba tea, but you can get that anywhere now. There's some good boba tea Baton Rouge places. I don't know why boba tea was like the first thing that came out of my mouth. But still, obviously, the diversity of Los Angeles is unparalleled, right? It was just incredible to see all the melting pot of society just walking around you at every second. It was really, really cool. Obviously, the traffic and all that stuff, but the weather was just immaculate. Obviously, that's always just going to be up there as well. So yeah, I would go with those things. The food's obviously awesome. I think LA is a pretty good food city. So yeah. Tyrann Mathieu, he was not Walter Payton Man of the Year last year. Yeah, it's just great. LA is just great. It really is a great city. Now, if you're planning a trip to the West Coast, would you rather go to Vegas or LA? It just depends on what you're trying to get out of the trip. For me, if, I said, hey, PHL, we're all meeting up, we're going to do something fun together, I would obviously choose to meet up in Vegas, right? Because we're sports and Vegas is a good sports city, right? When it comes to, betting and hanging out and all that stuff. Now, LA is a better sports city in terms of iconic teams, but Vegas sports books are just one of my happy places. I just freaking love that. But yeah, big Vegas guy, big LA guy. Also, Pasadena and the Rose Bowl is just crazy. But yeah. So yeah, the Walter Payton Man of the Year. I know a lot of you having questions about it. Like, well, Tyrann Mathieu, I thought he won it, and no, he won. Once again, he won a like a fan vote. So the way it works is, it's honestly, obviously you want to win the award, but it is as important just to get nominated, right? They nominate one person on every team, so there's 32. Preliminary finalist, right? And then it goes down to, I believe, 3 or 4. I don't know exactly how that works, but still. What happened to your headphones? Yeah, so I just took them off. I don't know. I mean, what do I look ugly now? And am I breathing heavy? I don't know. I moved the camera down and the microphone closer. I also did not sleep today. So I actually had some really bad plane turbulence today, and I thought we were going to go down. I really did. Like, it was very, very, very scary. So I'm very fortunate to obviously be here, and we were very fortunate to land that sucker. Pilots did a great job. Weather just got gnarly. Man, and I was going to share it earlier that happened, but man, it's still in the back of my mind. Like, man, Be safe out there. Like, I'm still thinking about Danny. Like, she's kind of become one of the biggest, most important pieces of our channel. And man, Danny, I'm so glad you're okay. Like, your comments are just so great. Like, Haley's always like, well, what did Danny say tonight? Still looking for that center though, Danny. Like, I'm still thinking about it. It's like, God, deer are just so prevalent in the South, right? Especially if you drive in Louisiana at night, those deer, they have no regard for your life or their own. So, but yeah, I get a message here from Richard. Well, sorry to hear about the plane turbulence. I hate flying. I know it's statistically much safer, but I hate not being in control. That's the thing, right? And something else, and this is kind of, crazy to say about plane turbulence compared to like car turbulence. But when you go into plane turbulence, the first thing you do is you grab your phone and then you realize, well, I can't call anyone to say if this thing actually goes down. But yeah, it's scary. It's really, really, really scary. Mick, what is it true that John Madden never flew? He just took that Outback 18-wheeler everywhere he went. Yeah, Johnny, I've only gotten to go to Malibu once. Jared, the super chat. Let's see. Danny laughed at your turbulence. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. Like, I remember when I hit a deer, it is so rattling. It's a different feeling than getting in an accident, right? Uh, man, you know, mm, it's just crazy, like how dangerous cars are in general, right? There's just so many factors now that mm, that could just sway so many different things. Let's see. Jess, welcome to the channel. Good to see you. New Orleans is better than LA and Vegas. Mm, yes, I will biasly say yes to that, right? Now, once again, we are mostly going to say yes because, we subjectively and subconsciously are always going to defend, our dear beloved New Orleans. But at the same time, we also say that because our family also lives there. Bill, thank you for the super chat. I deeply appreciate it. Our first Venmo of the night. Thank you so much, man. It goes a long way. And Bill, the reason why it goes a long way is because, like a lot of people in Los Angeles, they Venmo and they use their Venmo for their Ubers, right? And I did that, and something else that was crazy. So I was actually renting a car. So I get to LA and I was getting ready to rent a car because the hotel I was staying at had free parking, right? So I get to the gate, the rental car gate, and they tell me that my rental was going to be $100 more than my actual rental price that I saw on my sheet. So I decided against it and I just Ubered everywhere. And I think that was the best decision. um you don't driving in LA is just hectic. Now, if you were planning on like sightseeing so many different things and trying to see every last little thing about LA, then rent a car. But you know car rentals are just so scary, right? Like, it's the worst. You're on a vacation, and what if you just get rear-ended? Like, it just ruins everything, right? um so I don't think I'll ever rent a car on a vacation again, unless of course I needed the miles and the ability to go as many places as we possibly can. I totally get it. It's such a jarring thing too, Danny, especially considering like how gruesome yours were, right? You're seeing the insides of another living being, right? It's scary. It's a very scary thing, right? You begin to reevaluate a lot of things. And this is true too. Everywhere seems better than where you live. It's true. I used to travel to California, Texas, and Florida every year. Cali is beautiful, but can't stand the people there. Never really had issues with uh, Californians. Or for me, like if I'm going on and this is just my personal view on it. I never let any like subset of people like just ruin my experience unless it's something like very personally disparaging or whatnot. But yeah, I've only had good experiences with California people. Obviously, with a lot of cities, you have homelessness and all that. Um, this is a big thing. Like I was talking to one of my Uber drivers. I believe his name was Sacco, and I asked him like, "Is it big in LA?" Because obviously, if you live in New Orleans, this is a very big thing going on. People just bashing door or bashing windows and just bashing car windows. It's happening a lot, right? And he said it wasn't happening a whole lot in LA, but it does happen, right? So it's just one of those things, right? Like if you do live in a smaller area, obviously, uh, crime rate's going to fluctuate when you live in a heavier populated area. Car rentals can become so much more hassle than it's worth. That is true. All right, so we've gone on so many different tangents about cities. I'll let you know how the LSU news cycle has been. But once again, you guys can ask you anything LSU related. Once again, Bill, you get to pick the next topic. I know you. I it looks like you're just Venmo porch. See the absolute best. But Bill, if you do have a question, I will obviously answer it the best way I possibly can. And if you super chat anything, obviously I'll go straight to it. Apologies if you already addressed this before, but have you considered an NIL donation to drive to host a couple Tiger football players for a live stream? So I tried this. I tried this last year with a very prominent LSU player, and it didn't work out. Like I sent him a DM on Twitter. I sent him an application through a third party website that he was working with, and and I never got a response. And I was giving him a pretty nice amount of money, um, and that was just to do one appearance, and it it didn't work out. Now it has crossed my mind. The issue though for me, Trey, is like I don't have any sponsors, right? Part of it is like me not selling stuff to a sponsor. Obviously, Underdog has supported our channel. Um, once again, it looks like I'll be working with Underdog again next year. Once again, I can't say for certain if that's going to be true or not. We had a lot of fun with the Underdog drafts leading into this last NFL season. But yeah, as far as that is concerned, I'm totally open to it. I would love to, right? But I also this is also something else, Trey, that I think about quite a bit. I don't want college athletes to feel uncomfortable, right? I don't mind asking uncomfortable questions, but I do feel when you do an NIL interview, some people can let that get to your head just a little bit on how you actually do ask and answer a question as well. And that gets into like, I've studied question asking and interview tactics. I remember when I wanted to be a radio host, I would study how Howard Stern interviewed people. And I would just go listen to all of Howard Stern's interviews, whether it was Madonna, Mindy Kaling, or Paul McCartney, I would just go listen to how he interviewed these celebrities, and I learned a lot. Um, but yeah, I'm totally down. Dang, nobody wants to talk LSU. Everyone. I think so many of you are just so focused on the Super Bowl tomorrow, right? I haven't gotten a single question. I think Jesse asked me an LSU question earlier, but you guys just want to talk about my LA experience, which is obviously great. I'm totally down for that. Um, I know Van's busy tonight. I would text him right now to get him on to come hang out. I would. We had so much fun. It really was a blast. And we talked about just the channel, right? It was cool. We talked about the Harold Perkins film study. I know a lot of you really enjoyed that. That was great. Um, it's kind of tough, right? My dream interview would be Harold Perkins. I would be very interested in picking his brain about a few things. So, I would also be interested in interviewing some athletes who don't get as many opportunities as other athletes. So, like, you guys know I'm a big Dre Jenkins guy. I think that would be a fun NIL opportunity. Dre to me is such a fascinating guy. He really is. He's a very unique LSU player with a very interesting legacy, right? Being a deep role player on the 2019 team. But really, it's kind of crazy to think about. We tend to like to think of athletes as we don't think about athletes in their careers, right? We think about athletes in their big moments. Like, of course, with Tom Brady, the first thing you think about are the 7 Super Bowl rings. But if you really break it down, the first thing you do think about is the Malcolm Butler interception or the Tuck rule. You think about those moments. What's really interesting about Dre Jenkins is he is a big moment player, right? The Arkansas game-winning touchdown, the Texas A&M game-winning touchdown, the Florida game-winning touchdown. He just has so many clutch, iconic moments for a guy who was never fancied to be at the top of any depth chart, really. And that's why I freaking love this guy so much. I really freaking do. And I'm so happy he's coming back for an extra season. Not hearing anything about the tight end from Notre Dame. I guess no news is kind of good news. I think he's just weighing his options now. Appreciate you, Jay. Yeah, obviously, I was waiting to share the Harold Perkins film study. I do believe this, okay? I do think there's going to be some things that are going to be difficult, right? He's not the longest, lankiest guy. He doesn't really have pass rush moves. He doesn't have pass rush repertoire. So that's going to take some time to craft those because he could just run everybody down. He was just so much faster than everybody. So, if they're going to bring him in as an edge rusher, that's going to be key. Now, the one thing I do like about him, if you view him as more of an edge rusher, is one thing BJ Ojolari would struggle with is actually just bringing the quarterback down. Like there would be a lot of times where he would get in the backfield, but the quarterback was able to evade him. And it is tough, right? Quarterbacks are more athletic. They have more guile now than they did, even a decade ago where, so many quarterbacks would get strip sacked easy. Quarterbacks are so sacks. You can't avoid Harold Perkins. You just can't, right? Because his closing speed and his instincts and his desire is unreal, right? He is a assassin. So, he is a more fluid athlete then practically any of our guys next year are going to rush the passer. Now, that doesn't mean that the other guys aren't very fluid athletes. They are for their body types. It's just Harold Perkins is really special when it comes to actually bringing people down. Yeah, Mick, good for Matt. It really is good for Matt, right? Now, I know that makes a lot of you feel some type of way. Well, why didn't LSU hire him? Why would Matt go to Bama? I'm going to say it once. I'm going to say it again. Coaching is not a meritocracy. It is not. It is just getting your foot in the door. And I saw something very interesting, right? A few LSU staffers I saw Coach Steeples do this earlier. I also saw LSU's new player development coach ask, where's the best place for me to go get my haircut? Corey Phillips is his name, the young coach on Twitter. The one thing I've liked about the staff is they've asked a lot of these kind of questions, right? But, the truth is, it's hard, right? It's kind of a miracle that Robert Steeples is even on the staff, right? He's 32 years of age, and he was a high school coach just 2 years ago. He's never been a defensive back coach. It's so hard to get your foot in the door anywhere. So I know a lot of you feel this way, that it does bother you, but it shouldn't. Coaching is just a different thing. I think you, as a player, can separate your feelings for where you actually coach, right? Because if that were the case, we would 110% know Dabo would take the Alabama job after Nick Saban, or so and so, Les Miles would have gone back to Michigan. You could still love a school and not actually, go coach there. LSU softball. Shout out to Beth Torina. Yes, I love it. So he's updated the image. I got to go up to Charlottesville, go hang out with Caucus. And one of my best friends went to UVA. Who do you think is the most underrated player of the class? LSU fan. That's a good question. Underrated. Let me think. So I'm on no sleep, so it's kind of hard to do the like kind of thing. Like, you just think of everyone. I'm going to stick with Jordan Allen here. Once again, not a year one guy, but year two, he's going to be a really good defensive back. I could see a very Brandon Taylor type of career from him. And as many of you know, Brandon Taylor was severely underrated. What's up, Carvis? I'm telling you, this is on Landon Ibieta Stan channel, right? It's going to be so hard for him to play next year. What are your thoughts on the 2023 class? LSU has offered a lot of players in the last few days. That's pretty normal. Obviously, Johnny Five, it starts with the quarterback, right? What is LSU going to do with the quarterback? But, we talked about that just a little bit earlier, so I'm not going to rehash that again. Outside of quarterback, let's talk about the guy that is that has been talked about a lot on this channel. I won't go too deep on this, but I will tease something for you. Last week, we had Sean Fox, the best radio host, the best sports radio host in North Louisiana, and there's really no one close to him. He's really good. He's done it for 17 years now, and he is a Trey Holly believer. He really thinks Trey Holly is like Clyde good. And I know a lot of you do as well. Ulysses isn't in here. He thinks Trey Holly is so special. North Louisiana, this is your guy, right? And I hope he is. So, as far as the 2023 class, he's going to be a big priority because LSU didn't get any backs in this cycle. So that's going to be a guy it's going to have so much hype, especially considering, you had a 0 RB class. Oh, you think so too? This is a Trey Holly Stan channel. I didn't expect the live stream tonight. Dedication to the people. All about that life, baby. Yeah, so we did the one yesterday. We just doing our normal Saturday night live stream. It is Saturday, right? I do have some jet lag. Ooh, Jay, that's a sexy name right there. Fitzgerald West. Very interesting. Same school, obviously, as Jordan Allen. What's his best position? Is he a DT or an offensive lineman? Obviously, it looks like he's going to play offensive line. Yeah, I hope so. We don't win the title in 2019 without 3-star offensive linemen stepping up for us big time. What, is Carvis out of here? Okay, no, Carvis is still in here. Yeah, Tackett Curtis, man. 4-star linebacker out of Manny. Man, dude, there's a lot of Georgia steam with this. Makes a lot of sense. He looks like and plays a lot like Nakobe Dean and a Georgia player would play. He's just a really athletic player. But yeah, obviously huge priority. If you can get an every down linebacker that is athletic enough to do all of it, it's big. God, Trey Holly has got some. We need to get Trey Holly on the channel. Trey Holly has got a religious. I've never seen you guys stand a recruit as hard as Trey Holly. I'm dead serious. Not Harold Perkins, not anyone. And we're still months away from the high school football season and senior season. But I'm down. I'm down with some Trey Holly chatter. What's up, Carvis? I'm all about some Tackett Curtis, though. But once again, it's 2023. Transfer portal obviously doesn't make recruiting as important, but still, it's never too early to look ahead, right? The Tiger, you better believe it. Carter, I don't know how much you've seen in 2023, but have you seen Nico, the QB out of California? The Nicholas Iva, whatever, that's my favorite quarterback in the class. He's so good. And he looks like Kevin Durant playing football. And I know he will get knocked some because he doesn't look like a quarterback. But that kid could play. That kid can freaking play. It's a little, he's got a cannon. I mean, he really does have a rifle. But, some guys can just play. Like, it sometimes doesn't look normal. But, Josh Allen doesn't look normal. So, man, that would be cool if he came to LSU. Demolish the like button. Yeah, I don't do a good enough job of this. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Also, this is very important. I'm looking at every one of you. And I know I say this a lot. The best way you can grow the channel, once get 68 views in the off season, that's perfectly fine. Normally our numbers are way above 100. And then after post game, it gets 300, 400s, whatever. But the best thing you can do is share this channel with just somebody else. That is only a diehard LSU football fan, not your friend Tucker that has just a dope tailgate and only cares about smoking a few Black and Milds and leaving by the third quarter. That's not the fan I'm talking about. I want you to share the channel with your friend Ralph, right? Who's got faded LSU 2003 national championship gear in his garage, right? That is wondering what kind of NIL deals we need to do to get Trey Holly. I want you to think of Ralph, okay? That's the kind of person I want you to send this channel to. Don't send this to a mediocre LSU fan, right? We don't want third quarter leavers to get access to this channel. Trey, tell Brian Kelly to hit me up. Huh? Obviously, you know, I get this a lot. First thing, I'm not as smart as the analysts that they already have. Okay, would I like it? Yeah, I would try my best to approach it as uniquely as I possibly can. The second thing is those guys probably make more money than I do on the YouTube channel, which I'm happy doing this. That's what really matters. I'm able to live within my means. So yeah, that'd be a dream job working for LSU. Jared said, I would share the channel, but all of my friends are here. Same. Joe Sloan is reportedly trying to switch Eli Holstein to LSU from A&M is word two. Super Bowl halftime live stream. Johnny, no, I am not going to compete with Mary J. Blige, Eminem, Jay-Z, and Kendrick, right? That's just not probably a good idea. Just because, you know, of how much variety they're going to have on that halftime show. Plus, I just kind of want to see it. It's not like just one person, right? Also, I'm a true believer that there's not really ever been just a bad Super Bowl halftime show. So, yeah, I just don't know if a Super Bowl halftime live stream would be the best. I don't know. I maybe so. This is what Danny. I have complimented you. I've been concerned about you, obviously, with your very traumatic experience. But when you make these comments like this, I remember a few weeks ago, Danny said something so interesting. She said, "Well, you know, because I heard her talking on Twitter on one of the Twitter Spaces, and she said, you know, it wasn't really that compelling." And Haley and I were listening. We're like, Danny is. I don't remember what you were saying, but you were saying something like that everybody was going, that is a really good point. So Danny, who pushes refresh on the transfer portal every 2.5 seconds, says, I may be too mediocre for the channel, not diehard enough. Danny, you are like the most diehard viewer we have. You like you you actually really care about the little things, right? We focus so much on quarterback, but you're just trying to figure out, hey, we need a center that doesn't get blown into the backfield 3 yards every other play. Yeah, Mick, but still, I just don't. I really do think this halftime show is going to be good, and something else about this halftime show, Mick, is I think a lot of people just want to see what this is going to look like, even if they're not fans. You know, rarely do you have like 5 legends all sharing this moment, right? It's let me make sure I'm getting it right. It's Kendrick, Eminem, Dre, Mary J. Blige, and someone else. Snoop Dogg? I'm trying to remember. My brain is fried right now. I'll give Trey Holly an NIL deal. I'm being dead serious. Ha ha ha. Man, so here's what I'll do, right? I kind of want to do a Trey Holly film study now. You guys are like really making me more interested in this kid. Now, I don't know if we have a lot of North Louisiana viewers. I don't know if it's North. I think Sean Fox actually convinced a lot of you because he spent so much time talking about Trey Holly, how special he is, right? How he showed up, Trevante Citizen. Okay, so it's just Snoop, Eminem. Oh, Snoop, Eminem, Mary J. Blige. So Snoop is on it, Dr. Dre, and Kendrick. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm all about some Trey Holly. Aaron Donald's your favorite player? You know what's funny? He's one of my favorites too, right? So I've shared this story before, right? I wish I still had film from when I played. I wasn't great. I was just a scrappy defensive tackle, right? So in order for me to play, I had to study like technique. So I would like watch Alan Page and Howie Long. They would sometimes show like their NFL clips, and I would watch Warren Sapp. Obviously, Warren Sapp was a huge influence on me, but yeah, Aaron Donald just is so much better than all of them. Like they're not. I just don't think they're in their stratosphere, right? It would be the same as like you comparing like Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Reggie Miller to LeBron James, right? Those other three are really great. They're Hall of Famers, but they're not LeBron. Aaron Donald is that of defensive tackles. He is so much better than everybody else at the position. Now, there are other great defensive tackles, but Aaron Donald is so much better than all of them. It's just true, right? Now, there's a lot of them I like. Jeffrey Simmons out of Mississippi State's great. Shout out to Blake at Are You Serious Sports. Fletcher Cox has obviously had a phenomenal career. Barry Brookert as a role-playing DT, not a big-time star, played alongside Aaron Donald for a very long time. I'm pretty sure he would agree with me on that as well. Johnny, I just saw this Venmo. Thank you so much. And Johnny, I already got it for you. All right, Jesse, we will see you Tuesday night. So Tuesday will be our next live stream. Danny says, Tracy, you are awesome. My marriage inspiration, watching these shows together on separate phones. Dwayne, good to see you. It's been a while, Dwayne. I'm betting we get Manning. I wouldn't worry too much about that. I really wouldn't. Don't. Here's the thing about the Arch Manning sweepstakes. Don't get wrapped up in it. Even if he becomes Tua or, a great quarterback, just don't let it consume you because it can, right? He's just so fun to watch, Carter, and dominant at the block. It really is crazy, right? You see these clips, there's like 4 guys on Aaron Donald, and you're like, holy crap. And it's crazy, like Von Miller's on that same line, and Von Miller is like the clutchest pass rusher of all time. Super Bowl MVP, obviously destroyed Cam Newton, but Von Miller's just had so many clutch sacks for the Broncos, and now with the Rams, it's just crazy. Like they're on the same defensive line. It's truly, truly astonishing. Trey, don't leave yet. I need to talk more about what was it? The external occipital protuberance. I can't get over that. Are you pro tuberance or are you anti tuberance? Let me know about your tuberance levels. Well, I'm a little anti tuber. My brain's falling apart. Speaking of which, Aaron Donald or TJ Watt? I'm still taking Aaron Donald. I'm happy TJ Watt got the award, though. Once again, I mean, I still probably would have given it to Aaron Donald this year, but TJ Watt was phenomenal. I mean, it could have gone to either one of them last year, and it could have gone to either one of them this year. TJ deserves it. He put up some really good numbers on, and Pittsburgh's defensive line's really good, but still, TJ's a monster. I think out of all the other defense, even though they play two different positions, I think TJ Watt would probably actually Micah. I think I would take Micah Parsons over TJ Watt. Still, that's kind of tough just because Parsons is so young, and I don't think we've actually seen his peak yet because he didn't actually do a lot of pass rushing in at Penn State. So we'll see. But obviously TJ is well on his way to Canton. However, I actually sold my Aaron Donald rookie card a few years ago, and I still have a TJ Watt rookie card somewhere stashed away in here because I love good pass rushers. I'm addicted to them. I know it's not good for you, Carter, when our numbers are down, but I like it because it's just our close PHL diehard fam. There you go. It is cool, right? Yeah, it's very conversational. I haven't really talked a whole lot of like just diehard LSU football stuff. Well, actually, we kind of have, but at the same time, I think a lot of you know that we're going to be chugging away so much crap. We shouldn't call that crap. We're going to be doing so much content over the next couple of weeks regarding LSU football. A lot of goodies are going to be coming. But yeah, I try not to get too obsessed with numbers on a Saturday night where basketball is a big story. And I'm not a basketball channel. Now, on a night like tonight, if I was talking about basketball, I'd have a lot more viewers. But, it's just not something that I want to foray into, even though I'm a huge basketball guy. Grew up on the NBA, grew up watching Stromile Smith and Jabari Smith and all those guys, right? Brad Bridgewater, who remembers that guy? So, and obviously, there was better players than Brad Bridgewater. I was just, going for a deep gut there. But yeah, I just, focus on LSU football. Bosa brothers are in that conversation as well with Watt and Parsons. No, not in my mind. They're good. They're both in the top 10. I just don't think they're as good as those two. I know it's not necessarily any certain thing. They are different types of ends, right? So the Bosas are a little bit more hand in their dirt, even though since Brandon Staley has come in, he's played Joey a little bit more as a standing guy. They both do 2-point stances as well. Still, Watt and Parsons are just so next level, right? Especially Parsons. I mean, I still don't think we've hit a ceiling, right? He just kind of started rushing the passer this year. It's not really his thing. Like he's not even close to a full pass rush repertoire. It takes time to, learn the best way to bend an edge and attack a player's arms and, rip, swim, club. So, yeah. Doing a spring game meetup. I'd like to if we actually had the date of the spring game. But yeah, Danny, I do agree with this. I do like a little bit, especially tonight. So I did not sleep. So last night, I go to the Shack thing. It was really cool. I missed out on like all the really epic stuff when like the A-list EDM DJs were there, and Lil Wayne and all that stuff. I miss that part because, I leave, go catch my flight, 6 a.m. flight. I can't sleep on a plane, right? So I hit my connecting flight, had all kinds of turbulence, basically flying in a vicious rainstorm. It was, I thought I was never going to see my little Z again. And my but still. But yeah, we are approaching 2 hours. So here's what we're going to do. I'm having fun hanging out. We'll keep it going. If you do super chat, though, we're going to keep this thing going as long as you guys are super chatting. If not, in the next 5 minutes, I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can. I'm also a little bit tired because right when I flew in, I had to go call 2 college basketball games as a PA announcer tonight, or earlier today. And then I also had to do a Zoom call earlier today. So it's been pretty wild. And the Zoom call was like a little comedy fundraiser. So shout out to Blake and the fresh pour. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. But yeah, so I'm worn the F out. Let's see. Let's go to as many questions as we possibly can. Portal shows Notre Dame center going to BC, Notre Dame center, or the Notre Dame tight end. If the Notre Dame tight end goes to BC, obviously that's a big loss. You want as much tight end depth as you possibly can. So yeah. What's the game plan for Burrow, Chase, if you're Zach Taylor? So we touched on this a little bit earlier. I think Jamar Chase is going to destroy Jalen Ramsey tomorrow. I really do. I really, really do. Jalen Ramsey's not playing his absolute best. He's given up. He's made some big mistakes and big moments these last 2 games. And I just think Jamar's going to destroy him. I really do. And I trust Jamar in a big game more than anyone else. That guy's just a different breed of human, even as a rookie. Let's see. Oh, Myles Garrett. That's actually a good name, too. Yeah, Myles is really special. He's really special. Both high motor guys bring their lunch pails to work. Clock in and clock out. Yeah, I'm going Aaron Donald as well. And Jalen Ramsey's still great. He's one of the best to ever do it. But I trust Jamar Chase. It's kind of crazy, right? Like Joe is obviously, Joe. But, I do think sometimes, and Jamar won the Biletnikoff, but man, that 2019 year from him was just so freaking good. It really was. And he just dominates people. Like, it's pretty insane. Off topic, but what's the big plans? No, this is fun. What's the big plans for Valentine's Day for Hey? So, really good question. I think a few of you remember this from, I think, 2-ish weeks ago. We had we actually had a Valentine's Day premature celebration, and I took her to a sushi dinner, and it was a lot of fun, right? So yeah, already got that down pat. Yeah, tomorrow I think we're doing chicken wings for the big game. Get some rest, Carter. See y'all Tuesday celebrating Tigers winning the Lombardi. It's a good way to describe it, Caucus. I like that. I like the way you worded that. Okay, we're going to keep it going. How many times have you said just got back from LA since you've been back? I said it a lot. You said it a lot, or did I say it a lot? Did I say it a lot? If I did, I apologize. Kind of hacky. So I don't know, Jared. Do you want me to? I don't know if I could do this. Could I go back and rewind this clip and see I just got back from LA? It was great. It was a good time. Thank you so much, Robert. Very generous super chat from King Robert. So he obviously couldn't do this without King Robert. Is Israel Adesanya fighting right now? Stylebender? Let me see. I think I actually. No, I definitely don't have this fight. It's probably pay-per-view. Israel Adesanya? Robert says he needs to win the Powerball. Don't we all? Gas station just got back from LA and need some beer. Ah. Israel Adesanya. It's such a great name, right? Israel Adesanya. Well, all right, guys. Very freaking fortunate to get to do this. Next Tuesday will be our next live stream, and we'll see you there. Okay, at 8:05 Central. Okay, support obviously my friend Blake at Are You Serious? Guys, thank you for all the support to me, and the LA trip was absolutely fantastic. And it's also very key. For those that have bought shirts, they just haven't gotten here yet. Trust me, I'm ready to ship. I got a lot of stuff to ship out, and everything's backed up. With weather and the Rona and all the other stuff out there. So once again, if you did get a shirt, I'm gonna hook you up with some cards and swag and stickers. It's great. Yeah, I know, Johnny. Those 3XLs, baby. Man. I don't know why it's taken so long, man. I really don't. So, yeah, once again, part of it was I got so many requests for more 3XL shirts. They are just really hard to find, and they are so much more expensive than the other shirts. So I need a shirt for my cat. Ah, I like it. All right, guys, we'll see you Tuesday night. It is Power Hour LSU Bomb. Ooh, tonight. I've been on an Indian food kick lately, guys. Chicken tiki marsala. Or am I saying that right? Is it chicken tikka marsala? I love that. That's one of my favorite dishes. It needs to be done right, but starting to grow into a major Indian food fan. And let's go. Let's go.